Hello, hello, JJ DiGeronimo here. It is so great to be with you again this week. I have to say, I'm still trying to ground from that amazing retreat in Jamaica. I had to admit, I was nervous. I was scared. I've never done an international retreat before. And as I mentioned last week, I really learned a very valuable lesson of trust. Trust was really a big deal for me this time, to just trust that it was going to unfold the way it was supposed to. But if I was really honest with you, I would say that I was doubting myself many steps of the way, many steps of the way. And as much as I wanted to have this experience and enjoy the property of a friend of mine, the owner of Tenzing Pen is Anne Marie and Sam Petros. And we do Pilates together, which is so cool. And we had been talking several months, maybe even a year, about going down. And when Anne Marie and I met on a rainy day in the spring, we said, let's open this experience for more women. And as I left that conversation and I committed to, yes, let's do this, as I walked to my car, I was thinking, oh my goodness, what did I just commit to? Can I really pull this off? Who am I to do this? Gosh, this is really scary. But like as Brene Brown says, I was half excited and half scared to death. So many months went by from that day till the day we hosted just about a week and a half ago. And I have to say, it's one of the best things I've ever done, is lean into that fear. I absolutely over programmed it, in the sense of I really had a lot of experiences I was creating. And so as I was attending retreats and as I was listening to different light workers and healers here on the podcast, Together We Seek, I was integrating different components. So I brought Helen's book, What Color is Your Aura? I did some painting at another event. So I brought some canvases. A couple retreats ago at Waterwood, I integrated bracelets that help people remember the moment that they were in. So when we went to the waterfall walk, I had them, we serenaded these wood bracelets, and we wear them all together into the jungle as we walked through the waterfall, helping each other, integrating, Mother Nature into each step of the way. It was great. Some of the women jumped into the pools of water that were all mineral based, and they really were releasing their fears. And my other friend jumped off of a tree swing. And if she's listening, hello. And I really saw the inner child in her come out. And I think for many of us, we don't have a lot of time to play. And my friend Beckett and his partner Cassandra, they do a lot of channeling, galactic channeling. And one of the channels they did was of Gaia and Mother Nature. And Mother Nature was like, talk to us, play with us, be with us. We are in relationships sometimes that we don't even interact. And so really integrating nature into this experience was so important to me, to really be in the water, touching the trees, integrating part of the experience that so many people were having in nature. I feel like, especially for women, like we are so connected to nature in so many ways. And oftentimes we're on the sidewalk all the time. We're not really leaning into the trees and sitting in the grass and, letting the sun caress our face. I feel like so many of us have the sunglasses and the hat. And for many of us, just getting into nature and allowing nature to help us release what is no longer serving us and allow us to fill up with the energy of Gaia was so important. We had a promptu. One of the women organized a snorkeling trip when we got there, and that was really awesome because people who had never snorkeled before snorkeled, but getting into the water and watching the fish and just being part of Mother Nature, where you're completely engulfed by the ocean, was pretty spectacular too. And the guides were so fun and they played such great music, but they also brought us to a small island off of Jamaica where we picked up our food on the way from a fishing boat, and they cooked for us lunch. And it was so amazing to have these people share their traditions, their food, their flavors with us. I know one of the women that attended the retreat have actually gone home and started making some Jamaican food already. So I feel like there was so many ways that we came together, not really knowing how it would unfold, but we all leaned into the experience. And for me, letting go of a really sort of strict schedule, if you've been to one of my retreats before, I really do try to pack a lot in. And it was really great to just allow the members that join me to lead in some circumstances, to design, to create, to share with all of us. And it was a big step for me to just sort of let go of the agenda, let go of the expectations, let go of how I thought it was supposed to be, and just allow what it was to come through. And I think for many of us, we're so afraid of failing. Me too. Me too. We're so afraid of failing that oftentimes we over design, we overdo, we overplan. And that's not necessarily needed in many cases, because if you are working in conjunction with the universe and your higher self, creating space to trust what comes forward, to trust what unfolds, to trust who raised their hand, to trust the suggestions of let's do this and maybe we should do that, is so powerful. Is so powerful because it really allows you to work in conjunction with the universe and let them serve up things for you that can enhance your experience. So I really want you to think for a minute of what is on the horizon for you that both excites you and scares you, but you're leaning in anyways. And then how much are you trusting that what will happen or unfold is happening for you? Are you trusting the process? I don't know if I really trusted the process until I got to Jamaica. I had a whole file of notes of what I wanted to do. I had a huge suitcase of experiences and gifts for the women. But some of the things we just didn't get to. They just didn't feel right for the moment. Like I had these beautiful cards I was going to hand out and we're going to journal on them, but there just never really was a space for that. And I had to let go of that vision of what that was going to be and really honor what was happening before me. I had a fabulous call this morning with one of the women that were at the retreat, and she is planning her own retreat there, which is super exciting. I'm so happy for her. I'm so happy for Tenzing Pen. But also the connections. She's reached out to many of the women that have attended. They've been collaborating, talking how they're going to work together. And I think for light workers, healers, and mystics, and however you defined the work that you're doing in the world that is illuminating your path and often illuminating it for others, leaning into ways to work together. Our frequency is obviously very important, but can be activated in new ways when we partner and team with other people. We show up in ways that really help us use our work in new ways, use our tools in new ways, or partner up and share the experience with somebody else, whether it's in a closed room, you're doing energy and healing work, whether you do it for a group, or whether you just meet up somewhere and just have a conversation. I think many of you know I have the group Together We Seek .online in Mighty Networks, and it really is a sacred space for me to come together with people that I've interviewed, people that have crossed my path, people that are sharing their light, love, and special gifts with the world. And for me, I'm really going to be activating that more in 2026 because some of the light workers, healers, and mystics have come forward and said, JJ, let's do this and let's work together in this way. And I feel like us working together is going to help shift the frequency of the planet. And there is no accident. There are so many of us down here right now. It's really quite extraordinary of all of the people that have crossed my path, that have crossed your path. There's tons of us here, and many of us are still dusting off our gifts, still leaning into what is possible, and still really trying to figure out how do we use our gifts to heal ourselves and consequently help others. So I'm pretty excited to share this time with you. I'm excited to share my fears with you, things that I feel that have held me back, or have made me self-doubt my choices. I think for many of us, we have a lot of self-doubts. I'm speaking at major companies this week, Coca-Cola and McDonald's later. Well, actually tomorrow, I'm leaving later today. And I really level set on how self-doubt and fear can hold us back, can keep us in a holding pattern, can convince us that we're not ready. But trust, if you're getting the message, if you're getting excited about something, if you're leaning towards something that really interests you, trust that there are no accidents. And that is exactly where you're supposed to be. And that you can sort of ask your fears and self-doubt to get in the passenger seat, or even better yet, get in the back seat of your car. Because I guarantee you that whatever is calling you forward is exactly where you're supposed to be, is aligned with your next step and your next lesson. And the longer you wait, well, the longer you wait, the longer it'll take. I guess that's what it is. And like you can keep waiting, but honestly asking yourself, what am I waiting for? So what if it goes wrong? What if it doesn't work out? That's okay, because maybe that's part of the journey too. And I feel like leaning into the trip in Jamaica, the healing, the transformation, the experiences was so much more than I expected. But I leaned in because there was a little tickle inside of me that said, yes, JJ, let's do this. Let's do this. Way before my mind and myself got the best of me. And so, what is the little tickle with you? What is the whisper that you might be hearing that is really pushing you to move forward in a certain direction, even if it's foreign, even if you've never done it before, even if you have so much doubt? What can you do this week to activate that? What's a phone call you can make, an email you can send, a journal entry you can create? I'm so glad I leaned in. I'm so glad I did not allow my fear to get the best of me when it came to hosting my first international retreat. I was afraid, as I mentioned. I was also afraid of letting my friend Anne Marie down, the one who owns the hotel, she's been working so hard over the last 8 years to get that hotel on the map. And just last week, while we were there, 2 weeks ago while we were there, Condé Nast ranked the hotel as the #1 boutique hotel in Jamaica and the #6 in the Caribbean. So her hard work and not knowing how to run an international boutique hotel in Jamaica hasn't held her back either. She has leaned in and just created a place she wants to go into and share with all her friends. So hopefully this inspires you to really think about, what are your whispers? How are you leaning into them? What self-doubt and fear is popping up, right? How are you sidestepping that? As you talk about in my book, Seeking, right? Sidestepping your fear, sidestepping your self-doubt, leaning into your whispers, aligning with your life's work. These are all the things I did and I documented in my book, Seeking, because it was super important that I shared my strategies, tools, and techniques with others that are really looking to illuminate their path. So with that, I really want to encourage you to trust the process, trust the whispers that are coming your way, and honestly, trust yourself. Trust yourself, even if you don't have the certification or the experience, or you've never done it before. Trust that you are getting the whisper for a reason. And I encourage you to lean into something you can do this week that starts a conversation, opens a door. Maybe you talk to somebody else that has already done it. Maybe you join a group of people that have done it. What is really allowing you to give energy and light to what inspires you? I think for so many, being inspired these days is hard to come by. But all your inspiration starts within. So really create the space to listen to what is coming up for you. making room for those whispers, writing them down, and taking small steps to seeing what is possible. And if you feel inclined, you can always drop me a message. We can schedule a call or just send me a DM of what you're working on. Because I feel like if I vocalize what I'm working on, or if I put it out there, like when I said yes to Anne Marie, I will host a retreat in Jamaica, it puts a stake in the ground and says, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I think for many of us, it's just about leaning into what is calling you, making space for it, and creating small steps to activate it. So with that, I hope you have a fabulous day. I hope you really think about what your whispers are. I hope you document your fears, put them in the passenger seat or put them in the back seat. And I hope you lean into something that you can activate it this week. Something small, just get it activated. And with that, I will see you again here next week. So with that, JJ DiGeronimo signing off. Together we seek.